The first practice problem is f of x equals x squared minus 4x minus 12. You want to find your vertex. Find the vertex by doing x equals negative b over 2a. B is negative. A is 1. B is negative 4. C is negative 12. You already have a negative sign in the formula. It stays there. You have a negative sign on the B. It goes in as well. On the bottom you have 2 times 1. A double negative goes to positive, so 4 over 2 dwindles down to 2. So the x value of your vertex is 2. Plug that into your function f of 2 equals 2 squared minus 4 times 2, and then minus 12. That's going to be 4 minus 8 minus 12. 4 minus 8 is negative 4, and minus 12 is negative 16. So that is the y value. The vertex is 2, negative 16. So if it shows up on your graph within the constraints of your range for x and y, then go ahead and put it on there. 2, negative 16. Start at the origin. You have a positive 2 for x, so you go over 2 places. 1, 2. And then down 16. There it is. That's going to be your vertex. Alright, your X-Intercepts would be a good thing to find. So if you find the X-Intercepts, you have to use the quadratic formula. Negative b is going to be negative 4 plus or minus the square root of the quantity squared of negative b, close the quantity, minus 4 times 1 times negative 12. And then you're going to have all of that over 2 times 1. And simplify that from there. Positive 4 plus or minus the square root of 16. This is a double negative, so it's plus. 4 times 1 times 12 is 48. And then over 2. Simplify again to get 64 under the square root sign, and find the square root of 64 to be 8. So you have 2 problems to do. 4 plus 8 over 2, and 4 minus 8 over 2. That would be 12 over 2, which is 6, and negative 4 over 2, which is negative 2. Those are your X-intercepts. You go to the x-axis and mark a dot on positive 6 and negative 2. Here's positive 6, and then here is negative 2. So you can see where the graph is going to go approximately. It's going to dip down through here and then go up that way. You don't have enough points to make an accurate graph yet. You want to stretch it out a little bit more. From this spot here on down through there, you can make that curve neatly and connect with those 2 points, but going out here, it should be going up like this, stretching out a little bit every time you go up a y-axis unit. So you want to pick items that are out here to the left, or to the right of this point, and then some numbers that are to the left of that point. You don't want to pick 17 or negative 17. You want to go just to the right of that. You might want to go 1 or 2 to the right. If you go 1 to the right, it's 7, 2 to the right is 8. we'll try 7 first. So we'll go down here and use 7, and the function is x squared minus 4x minus 12. And we're plugging in 7 to see what it gives us back. So 7 squared minus 4 times 7, and then minus 12. That's 49 minus 28 minus 12. 49 minus 28 is going to be 21, minus 12 is 9. So that gave us a point of 7, 9. And we have to find that on the graph. 7, 9. So we go over to 7 and then up 9. There's the point. If you go over here to the left of this point, you want to go just 1. We're at negative 2, so let's try negative 3 and see what we get back. Alright, so f of negative 3 is going to be the quantity squared of negative 3, close the quantity, minus 4 times negative 3 minus 12. That's 9 plus 12 minus 12, which is going to be 9, or actually 21 minus 12, which is 9. So we put in a negative 3 and got back 9. So we'll go over here and plot that. Negative 3 and then 9. Okay, so we've taken our graph upwards a little bit more, but we should still choose another point. I told you when we first started the lesson you should have at least 4 additional points. We've put 2 additional ones on there. So we went over to 7 and found 9, so let's go to 8 and see what we get back. So if we try f of 8, we're going to come back with 8 squared minus 4 times 8 and then minus 12. That's 64 minus 32 minus 12, which is 32 minus 12, giving me a 20. I put in 8 and I got back 20. So I want to find 820 on the graph. Alright, so let's go over to 8 and then mark off 20. So that stretches our graph out a little bit more. Did you notice with the other point that when we found this one from doing negative 3, it came out to be 9, just like this one did over here when we plugged in 7, because we went 1 to the left of the X-intercepts that we already had. So if I just plugged in 8 and came back with 20, if I plug in a negative 4, should I not come back with 20? Let's find out just to make certain. We'll plug in a negative 4 and see what happens. So f of negative 4 equals the quantity squared of negative 4, close the quantity, minus 4 times a negative 4, and then minus 12. Alright, that is 16 plus 16 minus 12. 32 minus 12 is indeed 20. So I put in a negative 4 and came back with 20, the same value I had when I plugged in the 8. So let's go mark off the 20 from putting in negative 4. And here it is here. So with that, that should be enough to make an accurate graph. I'll go do it in black. And let's see what this looks like. Well, I'm doing it in blue. Make a curve there. Arrows at either end. Goes all the way to the edge of the graph. So the things that we came up front with this are that our vertex is there, and we have an x-intercept here, an x-intercept there. and we made 4 additional points. We need the vertex for this quadratic equation so we can graph it. And the vertex is going to be x equals negative b over 2a. So that's a negative 1 over 2 times 1. So you come up with a positive 1 over 2. And if you plug in a half into this function, it's going to be f of 1/2 equals 1/2 squared minus 1/2 minus 6. You can treat that as a 0.5 in the calculator and do 0.5 squared minus 0.5 minus 6. So you should come out with a negative 6.25. We plugged in 0.5 and came back with negative 6.25. This should not be an issue. Decimals, whatever, you have a calculator, you should know that a half is the same as 0.5. This shouldn't be items that we have to go over. 0.5 and then down 6 1/4. So if we go over 0.5, here is 0.5. And if we go down 6 1/4, you're going to be at approximately right here. So there's your vertex. We need X-intercepts. So we're going to have to do negative 1 plus or minus the square root of 1 squared minus 4ac over 2a. And then simplify that. This will be 1 plus or minus the square root of 1 minus a negative, double negative, so it's plus 24. All of that over 2. So we have the square root of 25 that we have to simplify into 5. So you have 2 problems to do, 1 plus 5 over 2 and 1 minus 5 over 2. 6 over 2 is 3, and negative 4 over 2 is negative 2. We have to plot 3 and negative 2. Here's 3, and then here is negative 2. So it looks like the vertex falls between those 2 points, so we're good so far. But we can't graph this yet. We should plug in a 4, 1 to the right of 3. Plug in a 4 and see what we get. The original equation is x squared minus x minus 6. So if we plug in 4, 4 squared minus 4 minus 6. 16 minus 4 minus 6, that's going to be 12 minus 6, which is 6. So I plugged in a 4 and came back with a 6. We will find that on the graph. And make a dot. If I plug in negative 3, what should I get back? 6. So we will put that in there. Let's go 1 to the right of 4 and put in a 5. See what we get back. Let's plug in 5 and see what we get back. F of 5 is 5 squared minus 5 minus 6. 25 minus 5 minus 6, that's going to be 20 minus 6, which is 14. I plugged in a 5 and came back with 14. So let's find 5 and then 14. There it is, and if I plug in a negative 4, what should I come back with? 14. Okay, so that should be enough. Let's see if we can complete this graph. Thicker pen, go to black, and it should be something similar to this. make a curve, back through.